Perfect. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this webinar covering Rocky License as a Service. I just want to say hi with my real face. So before I share my screen, so you can see we are real. And for those that don't know, we're based in South Africa. We are the local Rocky channel partner in South Africa, and also the Ansys channel partner. We're a team of engineers, and we work with wonderful people like Renier here on the call from Crunchard. So we'll be having this webinar together. My job is to do the introduction quickly, so I'm going to start telling you about this, and then I'll hand over to Stefan and Renier to continue with the presentation. All right, here goes my screen. I can just get an indication, Laura, if you can see my screen, then I can start.
Yeah, we can see the screen. Thanks, Isaac.
Right. Okay, so the word LaaS, or LaaS, stands for License as a Service, and we've seen this trend in licensing methods for quite some time, and we welcome this from ESSS and Rocky as well. There's also this service available from Ansys these days, so I think it's a new trend, and I think the way we do business has changed. We are the channel partner for Ansys and Rocky in South Africa, and this is not all our clients. This is some of them. Just putting this up there to see that we have been very successful with this software over the last number of years, and the software developed also into something that's unmatchable in technology and discrete element modeling. And it keeps on getting better, which is really exciting for me. I thought of quickly showing just 2 slides about Rocky so that you can get an idea, and I'll try and summarize everything in 2 sentences. So Rocky is a discrete element modeling package, or particle simulator. It's not only that, it can do real particles. It's not a spherical based one, although we can do that as well. So we can do real particles, we can do breakage, we can do wear on the liners, and then of course we can do all kinds of coupling to Ansys, FEA, and CFD tools. And this is really the future of simulation, to start coupling these simulations together and make it part of your design process so you don't have to do these things once something failed. The integration in Ansys, there's a very strong relationship between Ansys and Rocky. And it interfaces with Ansys perfectly, and this is including mechanical and CFD and Design Explorer. So if you want to know a little bit more about that, please drop us an email and we can give you some examples. We can have a conversation regarding this. We're currently doing a lot of CFD DEM coupling things for some clients, and FEA, we call it technology transfer, so we can show you what the possibilities are for your specific case. All right, and this is my last Rocky video. I just want to show this because this is amazing to me, that that we can have this kind of transient coupling between Ansys and Rocky, and this is really where the power of this relationship is coming through, where we can look at designs in a transient way and not static like we've traditionally done due to hardware limitations, etc. And that's partly what this webinar is about today, is that hardware has advanced so much these days that our simulations are getting bigger and more complex, and there's definitely a space for what I'm about to show you. All right, so license as a service, let's quickly talk about the application for license as a service. Now, traditionally you bought software, or you bought a right to use a license of software. It was the initial big capital investment, and then you maintain that investment, and that was a strategic decision for companies. It was a large expense in the beginning, and then the maintenance were cheap to maintain the software. And we have a very good renewal rate with these softwares with our clients, because the value is really both in the updates and the technical support that comes from the engineers. But there are a lot of cases where existing clients need more Rocky licenses for a period of time, with peaks in projects that's coming through. And then some guys that doesn't own a Rocky license, they might need Rocky for a specific project and then not maybe use it for a while. And some guys are evaluating some software. They want to do a real case to see what the capabilities of the software is. And these are three areas where license as a service is ideally suited for these three scenarios. This is just a testimonial from one of the Rocky clients. And one thing to state here is that Rocky license as a service is not a cloud solution that, and it doesn't offer HPC cloud packages. We have to partner with other cloud partners to be able to give that. This system is just designed for using your own local licenses and then the cloud licenses, so your data will still remain on your own network. And then, of course, there are some possibilities with Crunch, Azure, all these guys. All right. As I mentioned earlier, if you need access to Rocky for an occasional project, this is perfect for you. The benefit of that is that you only pay for the software that you use. And then if you've got some peak requirement, this is also adding incremental cost to the software, and you can make that part of the project that you are busy working on. That's not CapEx, that's operational cost, so that makes the whole thing easier. And then for software evaluation, if you are busy deciding whether Rocky is for you and how much you want to use it, this is ideal for that. It's more than just a license. It's a secure platform to secure your data in your own network, because you physically just checking out some licenses and not data. If you want to use it like that. It's a very transparent process. There's a nice portal you can log into to track usage, see how much of Rocky was used in the last couple of, and you can also assign users certain rights. And then it's flexible. It's your choice to set your problems and your simulations up to do that. The licenses are available 24/7. You can even sit in different locations and use this licensing model. And there's a lot of account managing and monitoring available through the portal, and then EAAS will support you to set this up, and it will last for a 12-month period, after which it will expire, but you get that 12 months use of the software. The big advantage for me in this, especially with consultants, is that you can buy a bundle and then you can use them as you need them. But you don't need to use everything within a specific period of time before the license expires. So you can do something now and wait for the client to come back to you, and then go to go back and use the software again. Then very quickly, something about pricing, because everybody is interested in how much does this actually cost. So you can buy 3 packs of, let's call it hours, tokens, or minutes, or whichever way you want to call it. It's very similar to the cell phone system we have, where you buy a set of minutes and you use them per second up until they're finished. There's 3 packs available. The first one will be the starter pack, so that gives you 5,000 units. Then the value pack will give you 10,000 units, and you get a bonus of 750 units. And then large pack would be 20,000 units. I put a table together to give you an idea of the consumption rate. So let's say you buy 5,000 units. So you've got 5,000 tokens or units available. And if you open up a Rocky DEM pre-post license, it will consume 6 units per hour. And that will be for pre-post work. And then the moment you go to the solver and you use 1 GPU, that's consuming 13 units per hour. And then you can ramp this up if you have multiple GPUs. And it works out roughly, it's like a pre-post is 90 Rand an hour, and a professional solver is 200 Rand an hour, 195. And if you compare this with the annual lease pricing of these licenses, you can see that it's quite an affordable way to work, and the benefit then obviously to only pay for what you use. This calculation can be complex. Some customers use a lot of time in pre-post, and other customers use a lot of time in solver. So the total cost will depend. I mean, we can provide some spreadsheets for you to work this out, but with the guys with a bit of Rocky experience, you will agree that it will differ from project to project. I've got a couple of frequently asked questions here. I know this is going to come up, so I'm going to go through that quickly. The first question there is license as a service a cloud solution? No, it's not. There are some HPC cloud partners we can partner with. I think Azure and Crunchard is now with us on this webinar. They will show how it works. You don't require existing leases or paid up licenses. This is basically a license, so you can use that. There can be more than one guy using it at a time. So you can buy a bundle, a pack of bundles, and then there can be 5 guys using the software simultaneously, each of them consuming the amount of units that they're actually using. And this can complement your existing Rocky licenses. So if you have some projects that requires more licenses, you can add this to your existing packages. They can work together. The system requirements is the same for the other license packages. I mean, it's running on your local hardware, except if you go through a cloud partner, and these cloud partners has machines specifically set up for this kind of application. And yes, you need an internet connection to be able to use this because it's counting hours and minutes. Is there any risk with customer data when using RockyDem LaaS? No, there's no risk. All the direct data remains within your customer network. So that's still your local security. And then we charge by the fraction of an hour precisely. So we are not like doctors and attorneys that charge us for a full hour if they only see you for 3 minutes. I don't feel it's fair. I think there's a special place somewhere for them. So no, we do it properly. Then what happens if your credits are consumed? You will get a notification. You can set certain thresholds that will give you an alarm to refresh that. And then I've answered this question already, where there can be multiple users as part of this. They will just consume each their own number of credits. And you can set it up in Rocky to switch between Rocky licenses as a service and your existing licenses. And then there's just one catch with the GPU licenses. So if you are using 5 or 8 GPU licenses, it's costing exactly the same, because the principle is that it works on the packs 8, 16, 32, 64, and furthermore. Is there something we can consider trade our licenses in for? And for most cases, if there's a continuous using of licenses, then it will still be a bit more cost effective to use your lease licenses and your paid up licenses. We can talk about trading in some licenses, but this is not exactly designed to replace the existing licensing system. And does it enable global use? No, it's not a global license. It's still a local license. We can have some conversations if you have various sites across the world and you want to use the system. Some additional remarks here. Solvers can be executed in batch. And then only Rocky Professional is available for the system, not Designer. Designer is the entry-level package. And that's kind of it. The 12-month term is something I want to mention quickly. So if you buy a bundle of Rocky units, it will be valid for 12 months. And after that, it will expire. That's just because there's support and everything attached to that. So that's the only thing we want to make sure of. All right, that was me in a short presentation. You can leave some questions in the comments section. I think Stefan and Renier is going to answer a whole bunch of your questions still with their presentations. So so thanks for the time, and I believe you guys are next, Stefan.
Yeah, Renier is first going to show us how to set up a cloud machine that we can run Rocky on. Okay,
Renier, cool. So this is the actual demonstration on how to set this up and to use it.
Thanks very much, Isak. So just very quickly, my name is Renier. I'm from a company called Crunchard, and we specialize in high performance computing. So that's high performance computing on premise, we build clusters, or high performance computing in the cloud. So why I'm here is that a while ago we had a chat with Qfunsoft and ESSS, and the discussion was how do we get Rocky onto Azure. So this is really just the demo, how to set up the hardware within 5 minutes on Azure. What it also allows is, with license as a service, it couples really nicely with infrastructure as a service. So you might only want to use Rocky for a few hours, and it also means you only have to use the hardware for a few hours. You don't have to invest in hardware that you're not going to use. Okay, so let me quickly share my screen, and then we should be able to get going. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So before we get started, I thought I'd just put together a few links that might be helpful when you set up a system. So the first one is you're going to need an Azure account, and there's the link just to get an Azure account. One of the things that's quite important is your quotas. So when you've got an Azure account, you get access to general machines that are not high performance computing, but you need to request a quota to get access to the high performance computing. And in this case, it's the GPU based virtual machines. And this is just a once-off. You just have to request that quota for your account. The other link I've got here is the Azure Marketplace. That's where we've put Rocky, so you can click on it and do the setup automatically. And then obviously you just need access to the Azure portal. And then I've included at the bottom a pricing calculator, because in different regions the pricing is different, and depending on what hardware you choose, the combinations can be quite tricky to calculate. So that calculator is quite nice to do that. Okay, so let's go to the Azure. This is my account, and I'm going to show you from here. So this would be what your Azure account would look like, or similar to that. And from your account, you can actually see there's a Marketplace link. If it's not there, you can actually search for it. You just go to Marketplace. And then once you're in the Marketplace, you can just search for Rocky, and you'll see it comes up within your portal. So all you need to do is click on the actual offering, and it's got a bit of information there for you to read if you want, and you just click on Create. So there's just going to be a few questions really to ask, like usernames and passwords and things like that. And I'm just going to talk through those now. The first one is your subscription. That's your Azure subscription. We just create a new resource group. A resource group just puts all of the things together. So your virtual machine, your network, security features, and all of that. So let's just call that Rocky Demo. And let's just call it login as the virtual machine name. Now the regions have different resources, so you might want to look up before you do this where, and also your quota will be tied to the region that you choose. So in this case, I've asked for quota in Western Europe. And you can see the image. You don't have to worry about the availability options. That's usually for redundancy issues. You can choose the defaults there. The sizes is what becomes important for the Rocky virtual machine. And the virtual machine series we want is the N series. Those are the GPUs. Now they come in different flavors. So the NC, or the C stands for compute, and those have got the GPUs for high performance computing. The NV range is usually used for visualization. So you can see there's different numbers of GPUs as well associated with them. So that the first one's got 1, then I think it's 2, and then I think it goes to 4, and so on. So we're just going to choose 1, and the NC 6v3, I think it's got a V100 GPU. Okay. Then we just put in a username and a password. Okay. The next thing that I want to point out is just the hard disk types. This comes, why it's important is because of cost. If your virtual machine is off, you don't pay for compute, but you will always pay for the storage. So if you choose a high performance storage, that might impact your cost. So standard hard drives, which is your magnetic, then you've got the standard SSDs, and then premium SSDs is for performance. Okay, and that's all you need to do. You don't need to worry about all of the other settings at all. You can go through that if you want, but you just click Review and Create. Okay, so now it's done all of the validation, and you can now just click on Create. So it takes a couple of minutes just to set this up. It's spinning up the virtual machine and doing all the setup. And we can just quickly have a look at that. So while it's doing that, I thought if there are any questions at this point, we can chat about those.
I don't see any questions in the chat. Anybody?
Cool. See, it's pretty straightforward, so I don't think there's any real complications.
It's actually a good sign if people don't ask questions when you show stuff like this. Thanks, Renee.
So just a quick just to talk through what the virtual machine has. It's got Rocky already installed. It's also got all of the security ports opened up for the licensing. It's pretty much got everything you need set up already, so you don't have to worry about that. If you have a virtual machine that has more than 1 GPU, it will also then configure all of that. So there's no configuration that you need to do other than, like you saw here, just putting in your username and password. So this is a Windows machine that I've set up, and you can then access that via remote desktop. So once this is set up, I'll show you how to access that. And then that's it pretty much. And then I think Stefan afterwards will show you how to set up that license as a service. The nice thing is that once you have finished with the machine, you can literally just delete the whole resource group, and everything within that is then stopped, and you aren't paying for anything afterwards. So you can really just use the hardware for the time that you need it. And then obviously you're just paying for the license as well. Okay, so here we are. It's set up. You can see there's a little connect button, and it'll ask how to connect. We're just going to do it via remote desktop. You can remember the IP address and all the rest, but I just download the little RVP file and log in with that. It's just easier. Okay. So this is just the username we chose. Okay. Now, like any new machine, it's going to just ask a few questions like, do you want to be visible on the network and things like that. But other than that, it's all set up. Yeah, like you can see there, Windows setting up for the first time.
Yeah, this looks great, Renier. I think things have come a long way to set up remote machines and be able to use them.
Yeah.
This looks very straightforward.
And here's your machine. So like we can see there, we just say no for now. And then if we go to the start menu, you'll see that Rocky's installed there. And then I've included PuTTY for those that wants to do SSH and things like that. It's, but with the newer machines, it comes standard with SSH. So I don't think that's even necessary anymore. And that's pretty much it. So, I mean, if you click on Rocky, you'll see there's no licensing, obviously, associated with this. And that's where Stefan's going to talk through how you'd set up the license as a service. Any other questions from you guys?
That's cool. I think people can leave questions in the comment section, and we can handle those in the end. I think we can give it to Stefan right now. You still going to stay on, Renier?
Yes.
Yeah.
I just need to see how do I stop sharing. There we go. Stop presenting.
Good. Thanks, Stefan. Over to you.
Great. Okay, so is my screen visible?
Not yet, Stefan.
Not yet. Okay, hold on. My screen, it does show that it's shared. Let me just try again.
Yeah, it looks like we have your screen.
Can you see it now?
Yeah, we can only see your Teams meeting, Stefan. We can't see the application.
Teams meeting.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. Let me unshare that. Okay. Is that better?
Yes.
Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so we're back in the Azure login page on the portal. Okay, so now we can go and connect our machine. So there's our virtual machine, as Renewal already showed. It's already running. So I'm just going to click connect RDP. Then type in my username and password if it comes up. Okay, always on the second screen. Okay, takes a few seconds to connect. Okay, so there's Rocky. Shortcuts on the desktop, and then the first step to set up Rocky license the service, and this can be done either on the remote machines as this, or you can also use it on your local machine. Is you need to first of all log into, or when you buy the Rocky licenses service, you'll get the login details for the ECAT-FEM license website, where you need to go and retrieve your authentication number. Okay. So this will be the first step, and this link will be in the email that you will receive with a username and password. Okay. We type in our username and password. Okay, and then we can go into authorization, and there it lists in our authorization code that we need to use, and basically it makes use of an environment variable to authorize this machine against the Rocky license service from ECAT-FEM, which is partner of ESSS. Okay. There's also a way to authorize this via IP address, but since we're at this stage looking at cloud hardware, the IP address will not necessarily always be the same. So in this case, it's better just to use an environment variable. Okay, so the first step is then to go and enter our environment variable. Okay, so for that, we can just go to our environment variables list and then create a new environment variable with that name that you saw, free, and variable LM project, and then that file or the command that's listed there, the authorization. Okay, so that will be the first step. Okay. So then when we start Rocky, it will then also ask us for the license server details because there's something configured, pre-configured. So for that, then we need to put in the license host name, which is always the same for the license as a service option. So it's rocky.ecatfem.com, and then the port is 1516. And the firewall has been pre-configured, as the renew says, so there should not be any connection issues via the cloud. So click OK, and then see, picks up our license is available, shows you all the licenses that can be used. Okay, so I click OK, and then if you start Rocky again, it will then open the Rocky interface. Great. So it's very simple to set up the license for LaaS for Rocky. Okay, and there you can go. And what is also nice about this whole process, because we can connect via remote desktop to our server, I can now go and say, let's copy and paste my, say for example, a simulation that I've already set up on my local machine, directly copy paste it to my cloud machine, and then open that and then run your simulation. And it basically takes 10 minutes to get going on running a simulation in the cloud. Okay, so I'll just wait for this to finish copying, but basically that is as simple as it is. There's nothing else really to it. While we wait for this, any questions in this stage?
No, it looks pretty straightforward, Stefan, but I mean, obviously, we will assist clients in ESSS as well if they need to set this up. So they don't need to remember all of this. It's also very well documented.
Yeah, there is a PDF document that comes with the email that explains exactly how to set it up. But it's literally like 4 or 5 steps, and that's about it. But yeah, we can obviously assist anybody that would like to use this.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Stefan. Thanks, Renier. Thank you to myself. And thank you to everybody here attending this webinar. If you have any questions, please email us. Most of you have got our details. I see there's a question. There's a question there about
integrating Rocky with Ansys Workpiece. So this Azure machine is, I mean, it's not specific to Rocky. I mean, obviously, the process through CrunchChart, setting it up, that is based on the CrunchChart interface. But this is a general Azure machine, so nothing stops you from installing Ansys on this and then running Rocky Ansys coupled simulation on the cloud as well. So yeah, it should be just as simple to do that. It's just, and it's obviously not pre-configured, so you'll have to download it and install, set up your license, or point the license to some other license server that you have, or even use the Ansys elastic licensing if you like.
Yes, I was about to add to that, Stefan. So Ansys has a very similar system elastic units, Ansys elastic units. So it's the same as like Rocky. And the units kind of work the same as well. So if you want more information about that, we can email that to you.
Just to reiterate as well, this really is like your own server, and you can do with it what you want. You can install various codes and Ansys codes and couple it with Rocky. All this does is that it pre-configures this machine to have everything set up for you, so you don't have to do any of that for Rocky itself.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, and this is the future. I think we're going to see more people working like this in the future, and I wish all of you luck. Everything works now finally after a year of lockdown. So thanks for your time. If there's any questions, please email us. We will send a link with the recording of this webinar as well around to all the attendees. And thanks, guys. Have a great Friday and a weekend.